My name is Pope Francis. Can you guess my name? Pope Francis has declared himself the false prophet of abomination, desolation. In his recent statements to major newspapers like La Croix, Catholic paper in France, biggest one in France, that he doesn't like hearing about Europe's Christian roots and that Jesus was like ISIS telling the disciples to go out across the face of the earth and spread the gospel. Pleased to meet you. Won't you guess my name? My name is Lucifer. Now, I fight fire with fire. We have a lot of news today, but I want to go over this first. The Pope essentially is declaring himself the Antichrist, or declaring himself of Antichrist spirit, declaring himself the false prophet. Either or, it's all Antichrist spirit. And I've talked a lot about this in the last 2 days, not for lack of news. We have a massive broadcast coming up here today, and I'm about to kick it off officially. But when you have 5 million people brought in, 80% of them military-age men, saying they want jihad, and they're attacking Germans, French, and others, the highways have descended into bedlam. They've declared civil emergency on the highways in France. People are being robbed and killed daily. The rapes are epidemic. And then they have the Green Party meetings with Muslim leaders on TV saying, soon we will get rid of all of your culture. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed people are bad. And the Germans clap and smile. This is people that have been taught to commit cultural suicide. This is eugenics. This is the so-called leftist death cult. And then after I play this clip that we're going to get to here in a moment, Paul Watson's report, I'm going to play that clip again from Paul Watson's earlier report, and then I'm going to get to Salon romanticizing pedophile masturbating over a 5-year-old girl. Leftist news outlet plays dreamy footage of child as pedophile discusses sick fantasy. These people are assaulting us, and of course, his name is Todd, and of course, he has a creeper beard and a creeper mullet. I'm not saying you're bad if your name's Todd, but so many of these type guys have the name Todd, and he just fits the bill. I don't know why, what mold they come out of, but I have 2 daughters. I have a son. It makes my stomach turn to look at him. But we will look at the bullies that dominate our culture because we are so pathetic and lie down to Todd and lie down to Pope Francis while he pushes socialism and communism and lives behind the shortest walls are 30-something feet. Some of them are 200 feet tall, the inner walls. They have outer and inner. But he says your borders have to be wide open. What a monster. And they're all coming out openly to break our will. This guy is doing nothing more but completing the takeover that the pedophile guild that hijacked the Catholic Church began. And remember, it was in the news years ago when the last pope stepped down and had to go to Gandalf Castle by helicopter. Now 2 popes for the first time ever. That they were blackmailing the Catholic Church with all the pedophilia and Satanism and the rest of it. And the group that was actually doing it all and running the satanic takeover is the group that now took it over. And I traveled to Rome to personally investigate it. And now it's all been confirmed. We actually have a satanic entity publicly inverting the cross, inverting Christ in the seat of the pontiff. There is no debate. This signals the earth moving into an even more dramatic time of open evil. You want to see what end times look like? You're seeing it right now. Now, I'm not saying this is the final end time, because the Bible says there are many antichrists, like waves, leading up to the big one. But I'm telling you, it's the next to the last, or could be the last. I mean, this is dangerous. Bishops should not have to report child abuse, Vatican says. You see, now you notice that Pope Francis took over. No more pedophile talk. No more leftist media attacking the Catholic Church. And it had problems before. But now that they've taken it over, oh, now the pedophilia is okay. Now the media takes the heat off because it was mission completed. And they'll use pedophile cults to take over Congress, to take over your state house, to take over your church. This is their main cult, is pedophiles. And it's a big, powerful cult. Rome had them as well. Rome declined when the pedophiles took over. It's beyond that. The pedophilia is only one sign of their devil worship, their evil, of the spirits that control them. And the spirit of our age is a pot-bellied pedophile. I mean, they ought to have a huge statue in D.C. of the pot-belly, the little skinny legs, the suspenders, the blue shirt of Todd Nickerson, who's a self-described pedophile, though he doesn't act on it. And everyone should just worship it that worships this modern age. By the way, they've got mainstream news saying little girls that see boys' genitals now in the locker rooms and showers in public schools, down to like, you know, we're talking 7th, 6th grade, they're now putting men in the showers with women. You're like, that's over the top. Of course it's over the top. Because after you put up with this, you'll put up with anything. You better clingers. Let's go to Paul Joseph Watson's report that I am retitling and reissuing on my intro here. We're going to put it back out later today. Pope Francis declares allegiance to Satan. I think that's a fair statement when he says Christian roots are bad and Jesus was like ISIS. He's openly declared his allegiance to Satan. He's come out of the closet as a servant of Baphomet. Let's go to the clip.
The Pope says that ISIS's conquest of the Middle East is just like Jesus sending out his disciples. Pope Francis told a French Catholic newspaper, "I don't think there is a fear of Islam as such, but of ISIS and its war of conquest, which is partly drawn from Islam. It is true that the idea of conquest is inherent in the soul of Islam. However, it is also possible to interpret the objective in Matthew's Gospel, where Jesus sends his disciples to all nations in terms of the same idea of conquest. ISIS's war of conquest is like Jesus sending out his disciples. Yeah, I must have missed that Bible chapter where Jesus' disciples beheaded people, forced them into sex slavery, and made them pay a tax on pain of death if they refused to convert. The Pope also said he dreaded hearing about the Christian roots of Europe because to him they take on colonialist overtones. Yeah, if it wasn't for the Crusades, which were a defensive measure against Muslim invaders, most Italian women would be walking around in hijabs right now. But don't worry, because the Pope assures us that everything is going to be fine so long as we just integrate the millions of Muslim migrants flooding into Europe. Oh, you mean like the integrated residents of Molenbeek, Brussels, who helped hide Paris massacre culprit Salah Abdeslam for months? You mean like the integrated Moroccan migrants in Cologne who sexually molested hundreds of German women? You mean like the Muslim immigrants across European cities who are so peacefully integrated that police are afraid to even respond to crimes in their ghettos because they'll get attacked? Yeah, how's that integration working out for you? According to the Pope, this integration also includes Muslims interbreeding with Europeans to fix our declining birth rate. Yes, he actually said that. Muslims pouring into the West to breed with Europeans. Now, where have I heard that before?
We will give them fertility. We will breed children with them. Listen to this guy's accent. Because we shall conquer their countries.
Oh, that's right. Radical Islamist preachers who openly advocate interbreeding as a way to conquer Europe. And all this before we even get to the fact that while the Pope lectures Europeans about allowing in millions of Muslim migrants, he lives in Vatican City surrounded by 39-foot walls that were originally built to keep out Muslim invaders. I mean, why doesn't the Pope just start reciting the Shahada and chanting Allah Akbar at this point? Listen up, Popey. Why don't you stop wasting your time washing Muslim migrants' feet, saying how awfully racist Christianity in Europe are, and actually represent your congregation? Why don't you stop lecturing us all about how evil capitalism is? How's that South American socialism working out for you? Not too good, eh? Why don't you actually do something to address the pedophiles that still infest the Catholic Church? Why don't you actually behave like a Christian by defending Christianity instead of constantly undermining it?
And the report goes on. The reason he's doing this is because he's there to hijack Christianity and lead it straight into bondage. He's calling for world government, world taxes, a global cashless society. And notice every other institution is making its move and uncloaking as agents of evil right now, because this great battle is now about to be joined. Oh, he wants more immigrants to come to the city of Rome, but none within the gated city walls of the Vatican itself. Incredible hypocrisy. Brain force is here. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been on this the last few months. You probably noticed I've been more crazed, more focused, less brain fog, more energy, more special reports, and it's because of brain force.
One of the worst things with most energy products is it's not sustainable, right? You're gonna crash and gonna feel really bad afterwards. This has a bunch of different antioxidants and compounds and polyphenols.
Everybody's on these drugs to knock their brain out because the brain's so fried.
We kept changing this formula over and over and over again until it became sort of a grand puzzle. For example, the L-theanine inside of it, that is activated by the different compounds in the yerba mate that we put inside of it as well. This just increases the compounds you already have.
This is what you're actually designed to run on.
Exactly.
It's kind of like a car will run on one form of junkie gas, but it runs really good on what it's designed for. You will find Brain Force, Survival Shield X2, and other game-changing products at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.